Imagine sitting in a hospital and having to watch the person you love more than anything in the world wait for his or her own death. Doctors and medical professionals have already told you that they've exhausted all of their resources and there is nothing that they can do. Sure, there's a nurse there to provide some comfort in the last few moments, but really this is the only option that our country provides people in this situation. There is another option, though, that is not legal around the country. The idea of assisted suicide. Assisted suicide is the act of ending one's own life with the assistance of another individual. Our Constitution provides us the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and I believe assisted suicide falls under all of these categories, and therefore it is most logical to legalize it among the country for those who so choose it. So what does the right to life have to do with the idea of assisted suicide? Well, the Ayn Rand Center defines the right to life as the freedom to take all actions required by the nature of a rational being for the support, furtherance, and fulfillment and enjoyment of his own life. The government provides us the freedom to live life the way we choose, to have our own jobs, religion, sexuality, to be however we want to be, yet it doesn't give us the right to choose how we want to die. Also, assisted suicide will better the quality of life for an individual. Instead of living out their last few moments in pain, suffering, or a vegetative state, it allows us to choose how we want to end our lives and at least be happy with our decision. Inversely, with the right to life, there is the right to die. Debatopedia points out to us with the freedom of speech, there is also the freedom of silence. That it is a choice. That right, too, provides us the right to exercise and also the right not to. It is merely an option that should be provided among people as a right. The government does support some rights to die, however. Soldiers fighting enemy forces, the death penalty, and in some cases of self-defense, death is justifiable. Now, what does the right to liberty have to do with assisted suicide? Politically, the Ayn Rand Center defines the right to liberty as protects the individual's ability to think and act on his own judgment. A person must be medically and psychologically deemed competent, been given an X amount of life expectancy, or be in a terminally or vegetative state to be able to choose assisted suicide. It also protects individuals' choices when it comes to pain. Derek Humphrey tells us in his Liberty and Death Manifesto that every competent adult has the incontestable right to humankind's ultimate civil and personal liberty, the right to die in a manner and time of their own choosing. Many doctors do not respect advance directives and living wills the way a person has written them out to be. This is one of the ways the right to liberty should be respected for these individuals. Also, in Oregon, Washington, the Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, and Luxembourg, assisted suicide is already legal. Now let's talk about the pursuit of happiness. To me, this is the most simplistic reason assisted suicide should be legalized. The idea that a person should be able to live and die without pain. People have the right to choose how to live their everyday lives to be happy, the right to go and get help if they need it, the right to do and choose what they please. So why can't they have the right to choose to die as they please? It has become the government's allowing people to live in suffering, and this should not be something that the government permits on its individuals. There is also a controversy among removing life support and choosing assisted suicide. Debatopedia tells us a story about Terry Schiavo. She was in a vegetative state and had a feeding tube in her stomach. Her husband took out the feeding tube since she was in this vegetative state and there was no hope for her to have a normal life. This caused her to go into cardiac arrest and suffer an excruciating death. How is this an exercise of pursuit of happiness? With the legalization of assisted suicide, this could have provided her an easy and simplistic way to die where she would not have to suffer the last moments of her life. There's also the idea that life support and advanced medical equipment has given us an unnatural way to life. A lot of people talk about assisted suicide as an unnatural death, a death that God did not intend. but this is counteracted by the idea that there's a lot of medical advances nowadays that have given us an unnatural way of life. Breathing machines, IVs, medicine in general. Assisted suicide should be legalized because it provides us at least a choice of death, if that is what we so choose, and a way to end the suffering and ease the end of life that we know is coming. Our constitutional rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are given to us as individuals and should be exercised throughout our entire life. This is why I believe that assisted suicide should be legalized. So if you ever have to come across a moment in your life where you have to watch somebody you love suffer, think about this and why assisted suicide should be legalized.